Chapter 39, Maniac Magee. During the night, March doubled back and grabbed April by the scruff of the neck and flung it another week or two down the road. When Maniac slipped silently from the house at dawn, the only way he'd ever managed to get away, March pounced with cold and nasty paws. But Maniac wasn't minding. The reunion had been ecstatic and tearful and nonstop happy, and inside he was pure July. He was half a block up Sycamore before he stopped tiptoeing. Minutes later, he crossed Hector. The streets were dry. An occasional scrap of chewed rawhide was all that remained of the worms. Hours later, Russell and Piper spotted him 3 blocks off. "Maniac, you're alive. We thought they got you. We thought they slit your throat. We thought they strangled you and pulled your tongue out. We thought they chopped your head off and boiled you. Yeah, boiled you. And drunk your blood. Yeah, and drunk your brains. You don't drink brains, you moron meatball. Yeah, you do. Brains are like milkshakes, like Dairy Queen. You can drink them with a straw. You can hear them swashing if you shake your head hard enough. Listen. Hey, get off my head. Hey, help." They were off and running. Maniac couldn't help laughing. In spite of their twisted, ludicrous impressions of the East Enders, the concern and tears in their eyes had been genuine. They had really missed him. Then they had really been afraid for him. 2 houses away, he could hear the thump, almost feel it, in Father George McNabb's voice. "Lay him down easy." I said, "Easy," followed by son John. "This is easy enough." Thump, followed by a string of curses from George McNabb that fried the cold morning like an egg. The living room was hazy with dust. At the back end of the dining room, they were bringing in the cinder blocks, and George and John and a handful of cobras were lugging and grunting them in, dumping them onto the floor. Thump, thump. "Hey, kid," George McNabb was pointing through the haze. 3 months, and he still didn't know his tenant's name. "Get your lily hide over here and start lugging these." Maniac waved. "Later. Gotta go." He shut the door, and he headed up the street. So they were really doing it. He had heard them planning it for weeks, making drawings, buying or stealing cement, trowels, a level, a pillbox, they called it. Once it was done, they'd be ready. Let the revolt begin. Let the rebels, as they called the East Enders, come. Let them bust through the newly installed bars, over the plywood on the windows. Let them bust through the steel door. They'll find themselves staring on the barrel of a little surprise, they squabbled, over what surprise it would be. An Uzi? AK-47? Bazooka? Why? Maniac had asked Giant John one day. "Why what?" "Why are you doing all this?" "To get ready. What else?" "Well, what do you think's going to happen?" "What's going to happen?" Giant John swatted a squad of roaches from the kitchen table, and he sat down. "What's going to happen is one of these days they're going to revolt." "Who says?" "Who cares who says? You think they're going to make an announcement?" Maniac tried to picture Amanda, Hester, and Lester and Bow Wow storming the barricades. When is all this supposed to happen? John shrugged. "You never know. Maybe this summer." He jumped up and he grabbed the beer from the fridge and he flipped it open. "They like to revolt in the summer. It makes them itchy. They like to overturn the cities. This time we'll be ready." And he told Maniac what he often imagined, lying in bed, the blacks sweeping across Hector, one steaming summer night, torches, chains, blades, guns, war cries, marauding, looting, overrunning the West End, climbing in through smashed windows, doors, looking for whites, bloodthirsty for whites, like Indians in the old days, Indians on a raid. "That's what they are," Giant John nodded thoughtfully. "Today's Indians." The cockroach strolling up his pant leg wasn't the only thing making Maniac feel crawly. He shook off the roach and he moved to the center of the kitchen to surround himself with as much space as possible. "But other people," he said. "I don't hear them talking about revolts. Nobody else wants to make a pillbox." Giant John tilted the last of the beer in his mouth. "Maybe when we do," he grinned, "they will." That had been weeks before, and now the pillbox was underway. No longer an idea in the backyard, but a reality in the dining room. Now there was no room that Maniac could stand in the middle of and feel clean. Now there was something else in that house, and it smelled worse than the garbage and the turds.